So it turns out the Saiyans age at a much slower pace than humans do, but at the same time, they still have the same lifespan. So let's take a look at this. And to be honest, it's kind of interesting that they've created all this lore in order to pretty much never age Goku, right?
And this is backed up in the super exciting guide with Akira Toriyama saying, Saiyans are a warrior race, so their aging slows once they reach a certain age suitable for fighting, and they maintain great strength for a long time. However, their lifespan is not much different from Earthlings, and when they reach a certain age, they will rapidly grow frail. He also says that incidentally, it's not that their hairstyle never changes, Nappa went bald after all. The states of Saiyan hair are also the same as Earthlings, its properties are just a little bit different. Akira Toriyama almost contradicts himself, for in other encyclopedias, he says that a Saiyan's natural lifespan is longer than humans. But you know how the retcons in Dragon Ball work, right guys?
Overall, right, we're trying to create some type of backstory in order to never have to really age Goku, to have Goku look like he's 25 when he's 45, right? I think it's interesting though, the lore that if you're a Saiyan, you pretty much have this gap of time, right? Like between your 20s and your 80s, where like you're really not changing at all physically wise in order to be able to battle. Now the question is, if you're not battling, right, as a Saiyan, like will you age faster? I don't know.
It's very likely that Goku could already be immortal and will never die, or if not that, at least live much longer than he was originally intended to live. Firstly, like I just explained, the writers have full control over what they do with Goku and will never let him die, because if he dies, Dragon Ball dies in my opinion, unless they just bring him back. But if he was to perma-die, and the story moved on, having no Goku is a big hit to the franchise. Like, they would have to build someone else, and that could take years of the right marketing. So, from a writing standpoint, with whatever drawn-out story they can put out, Goku is immortal, or at least will live for thousands of years. And I feel we will kind of get what Ash Ketchum had, and kind of like James Bond, where we'll always have new adventures of Goku in his prime.
Well, I think ultimately, like, Dragon Ball Z is Goku. Like, you're not gonna see an arc without Goku in the forefront, or at least we haven't seen one yet, right? And I think that for the most part, us older fans, if you will, may be getting a little bit tired of it, but most people that are getting introduced, that are first watching Dragon Ball for the first time with Super, I think that Goku is still brand new to them, right? So they've only seen so many episodes where Goku is the hero. So to them, like, this is a fairly new story. And I'm sure that they can still continue to milk the Goku train, if you will, for as long as possible.
But biologically, deep down, they are very different. Humans usually peak at 20 to 30 in physical performance, but that fluctuates too. Humans maintain a high level of energy and activity for years to follow, where it then depletes later on in life during their 50s and 60s. Humans in their 70s and 80s are considered normally to be way past their prime and near their end. With Saiyans, however, it's understood by Prince Vegeta himself that Saiyans retain their youthfulness so they can fight for longer. We can consider Saiyans' youthful times are longer lasting and beneficial to that fight and lifestyle. My original opinion was that I used to think Saiyans would retain youthfulness for years and progressively age slower than a human and have a higher total living time. However, it seems it may be meant in another way, in that Saiyans would be youthful for many years after a human's prime, up until 80 years roughly, and then suddenly age at an accelerated rate in their last few years of living.
If they really tried to carry out this idea to its full conclusion, if you will, it would be crazy to see, you know, Chi-Chi at like 80 years old or 70 years old with Goku still looking like he's in his prime. Or, you know, it's almost interesting to also think about, would half Saiyans be treated the same way? Would they look differently? Would they age slower or longer? I mean, how does the human genetic interacting with the Saiyan genetic change up their lifespan or the way that they age or how their bodies function? I think that would be an interesting thing to kind of see, but more like maybe an OVA than like an actual part of the series, if we ever get to see something like that.
But this is all just a theory, and I felt the way Dragon Ball is going, I don't think they are going to be pushing Goku and Vegeta into a retirement home anytime soon, and sometimes I feel that takes away from the tension. I feel that if Goku and Vegeta are always getting stronger, always rising up, never stopping, it takes away all sort of relation to real-life circumstances of daily struggles on the physical body and mind. Dragon Ball was always best when it focused on mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, you could still age Goku relatively slowly, right, in the story. I mean, look at like One Piece, for example. It's been going on for over, 20, 30 years, and Luffy hasn't aged all that much, maybe like a couple of years, 4 years. So it all depends on the storytelling that you are trying to do and how much your character actually ages. I will agree they are more likely to de-age Goku, like we're seeing that in Daima, than to age him is just probably an easier way to tell a new and fresh story, or even start telling stories in between different arcs as well. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, I've always understood that Saiyans age differently because of GT and the way that, you know, Chi-Chi and Bulma are portrayed over, you know, Goku and Vegeta. But I didn't quite understand, or at least I didn't know about this theory where they basically are stopped in time, you know, between their 20s and their 80s. So that's a pretty interesting take. Let me know what you think. And as always, just want to remind you that we must persevere.